Muna, a beautiful young woman, sat quietly on the edge of the bed, her hands clutched together in silent prayer. She had prayed so much over the years, yet she wouldn't stop praying. Beside her, Ebuka walked in holding a bottle of water. Muna, it's late. You should rest, he said softly, placing the bottle on the bedside table. Muna looked up at him. Her eyes glittered with tears. Ebuka, how can I rest? 10 years of marriage and still no child. People are beginning to mock us. Ebuka sighed. He had heard those gossips too. We have done everything. We have prayed, fasted. We have visited different gynecologists and even native doctors. What else is left? Muna hesitated. Adoption. That is what is left, Ebuka. Adoption? Ebuka frowned. You know how our people think. They will never see that child as ours. But Ebuka, Muna's voice cracked. What if that is the only way to have a family? 6 months later, Muna and Ebuka stood in front of the orphanage, their hearts pounding. Inside, the matron walked towards them, holding a beautiful baby wrapped in a pink blanket. Meet Zara, the matron said with a smile. Muna breathed heavily. The baby was beautiful, with big curious eyes and a tiny clump of black hair. She reached out her arm and the baby laughed. She's beautiful, Muna whispered. Ebuka, standing a little behind, nodded slowly. Yes, she is. The drive home was filled with laughter and excitement. For the first time in years, their home felt alive. They painted her room, bought toys, and promised to give her the best life. She's a blessing, Ebuka, Muna said. One evening, as she rocked Zara to sleep, maybe this is how God wanted to answer our prayers. Ebuka smiled. Maybe. 1 year passed, and Zara's laughter continued to fill the home. But Muna started noticing something. Ebuka, she said one evening, her voice mixed with worry. Zara isn't crawling yet. Shouldn't she be crawling by now? She's just slow, Ebuka replied. Every child is different. But as time went on, the signs became clearer. Zara wasn't just slow. She couldn't move her legs properly. A doctor confirmed their fears. Zara was physically challenged. She may never walk, the doctor said softly. Muna cried for days. But when she finally stopped crying, she made a decision. Zara is still our daughter. We will give her the best life possible. Ebuka nodded, holding her hand. They bought a small wheelchair for Zara and enrolled her in one of the best schools in town. Despite her challenge, Zara was a happy, intelligent child. 3 years after Zara's adoption, something happened. Muna found herself feeling weak and tired all the time. When the doctor confirmed she was pregnant, she was overjoyed. God has answered us, she exclaimed to her husband. 9 months later, Muna gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Their joy knew no bound. But slowly, things began to change. At first, Muna and Ebuka didn't notice they were so caught up in caring for their son, Dubem, that they began neglecting Zara. Her toys were no longer replaced, and the warm hugs and kisses she once received ceased. "Mom, I'm hungry," Zara said one evening. "Go and get something from the kitchen," Muna replied, not even looking up from where she was feeding Dubem. "But I can't reach the counter," Zara said softly. "Then wait until I finish," Muna snapped. Over time, Zara's life became harder. She was given chores far beyond her age and physical abilities. Sweeping, washing plates, and even fetching water. She struggled, but her parents didn't seem to care. Neighbors began to notice. One day, their next door neighbor, Auntie Nkechi, called Muna aside. "Mama Zara, why are you treating Zara like this? That girl loves you and you are breaking her heart." "Mind your business, Nkechi. She's my child, not yours," Muna said. But Zara knew the truth. One day, while she was cleaning the house, she overheard a conversation between her parents. "Why do you even bother about her?" Ebuka said. "She's not even our child. Dubem is our real child." Zara's heart shattered. She locked herself in her room and cried for hours. After that, she became withdrawn. Her school performance dropped, and she avoided everyone. One day, a social worker visited their home. Someone has reported Muna and her husband for child abuse. After an investigation, Zara was taken away and placed in a foster home. Muna and Ebuka were left with Dubem, but raising him was no easy task. As Dubem grew older, he became spoiled. He demanded money constantly and refused to listen to his parents. By the time he was 16, he had dropped out of school and started hanging out with bad friends. One afternoon, Dubem stormed into the house with his friends. "Dad, I need 500k, he demanded. His father stared at him in disbelief. He kept quiet and continued reading the newspaper. "Dad, I said I need 500k, Dubem shouted again. "Are you okay? 500k for what? What do you want to do with such amount? And where do you think I can get such money from?" "Find it," Dubem shouted, pulling out a gun to intimidate his father. "Dubem, put that down," his father said, trembling. In the commotion, the gun went off. The bullet hit Muna, who had rushed in from the kitchen to see what was happening. "Muna!" Ebuka screamed as she collapsed to the floor. Neighbors helped rush her to the hospital, but it was too late. Muna died on the way. Ebuka was inconsolable. 2 days he passed away from the grief. Meanwhile, Dubem and his friends fled the scene. After Zara was removed from Muna and her husband's care, she was placed with the Okafors, a kind and loving couple. Mr. Okafor and his wife had longed for a child, and when they met Zara, they instantly felt a connection. "Welcome home, Zara," Mrs. Okafor said softly. She wheeled Zara to her room. Zara felt safe and comfortable in her new home. Mr. and Mrs. Okafor treated her like their own daughter. providing her with unconditional love and support. "You are not just special, Zara," Mr. Okafor often told her. "You are destined for greatness." Encouraged by their love, Zara began to heal. Though her early years of neglect had left scars, the warmth of her new family helped rediscover her confidence. Back in Muna and Ebuka's house, Dubem had become even more spoiled and reckless. Zara flourished under the care of Mr. and Mrs. Okafor. Despite her physical challenge, she excelled academically. Mr. and Mrs. Okafor ensured she had access to the best education and resources. In high school, Zara discovered her love for writing. She began writing short stories about her life and dreams, and one of her teachers encouraged her to submit them to a national competition. To everyone's delight, Zara's story won first prize. Her story, titled "A Crippled Girl's Dream," inspired many, and she began to receive invitations to speak at events. At one such event, she shared her journey. "I used to think disability is a curse," Zara said, her voice trembling. "But I have learned that it's not what happened to you that defines you. It is how you rise above it. I am here today because of love, because someone believed in me." Her words moved audience to tears. One day, years after Zara had been taken away, she crossed paths with a familiar face. She was attending a book signing event in the city when she noticed a man in the crowd. He looked haggard. It was Dubem. "Zara," he called out hesitantly, his voice filled with disbelief. Zara froze. She hadn't seen Dubem since she was taken away from their home. "It's me, Dubem," he said, stepping closer. "Do you remember me?" Zara nodded, emotions swelling inside her. She had spent years trying to forget the pain he and her parents caused her, but seeing him now, she felt a pang of pity. "What happened to you?" Dubem laughed bitterly. "Life happened," he said. "After Mama and Papa died, I had nothing. No one. I messed up, Zara. I know I did. I am sorry." Zara looked at him for a long moment. Despite everything, he was still her brother. "I forgave you a long time ago," she said softly. After their brief reunion, Zara returned to her life of advocacy while Dubem struggled to put his life together. He eventually joined a rehabilitation program, determined to turn his life around. Years later, Dubem became a changed man. He was working as a mechanic and living a humble life. Zara continued to inspire others with her story. She became an author and a motivational speaker, dedicating her life to helping children with disabilities and advocating for adoption. Dubem, though haunted by his past, found redemption in his work and community service. He often spoke to troubled youth, warning them about dangers of reckless life. Though their paths were different, Zara and Dubem both learned valuable lessons: love, resilience, and power of forgiveness. Thank you for watching. Please support my channel by clicking the like button. Share your views about the story on the comment section. And please subscribe to my channel. Bye.